What's going on, you guys, and welcome to episode 2 of the Road to Hyrox North America Championship. In today's episode, we're going to be covering my strength protocol that I put in my programming in prep for the competition. As a quick reminder, the competition is in Chicago, Illinois on February 11th at Navy Pier. This is going to be my last time competing in the age group of 30 to 34 with the goal of 68 minutes for my final time. In last week's episode, we covered my conditioning where I talked about how I implement base training and also speed and power training in the same week. And in today's episode, we're going to be covering my strength protocol, but also ways that I implement metcons into those sessions. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So we'll have a similar format to what we did last week where I'll cover what I do on each day, we'll zoom out to look at the entire week, and then we'll double click into each session so you can see exactly what does that session look like so you can see what I'm doing. With Sunday being rest day, let's jump right into Monday, which is an upper body strength training session. I try to keep my movements pretty basic with the push and pull. I don't have dedicated days where I'll do chest one day, back one day, arms another day because I'm not focused on bodybuilding or really focused on aesthetics. The main focus is around performance. With this program focused on Hyrox, I really don't need to be doing that much upper body strength, but it is something that I enjoy doing, so I do this twice a week, and I view this more as maintenance lifting with a short metcon at the end. Jumping into Tuesday, we now look at this as a hard day. If you remember back to last week's conditioning episode, I went through easy, hard, easy, hard, easy, hard for my running days, and when it comes to my strength workouts, I like to have my hard days be hard and my easy days be easy. So as I mentioned in Monday, I'm not really pushing too hard on that upper body lift, it's more so just the maintenance. But when we get into Tuesday, we are now going into lower body strength training. So we are pushing a little bit higher weight and volume, and we'll dive into what that workout looks like in the next section. Jumping into Wednesday, it's the exact same thing that we did on Monday. Upper body lift, we keep things pretty easy and we stick with the basic lifts. Going into Thursday, this is another hard day with legs. So again, higher volume, higher weight, really trying to couple that hard run with the hard strength session. As we get towards the end of the week, we have Friday. This is a rest day with no lifting. We just have that easy run of 5 to 7 miles that I mentioned last week. Now, because the end of the week, I like to do my long runs on Saturdays, I do a lower body lift in the afternoon, but I don't do hard. I really look at this as a way to recover from the run earlier that day and ensure I'm hitting each plane of motion, so forward, backwards, sideways, a little bit of twisting, and really ensuring that I'm opening the body back up from the long run that morning. So I mentioned in last week's episode that I implement rowers, ski ergs, and metcons with my strength sessions, and so let's kind of talk a little bit about that before we dive into the individual workouts themselves. The metcons can range anywhere between 12 to 18 minutes. I would say from an effort perspective or heart rate perspective, I'm really only hitting a high of 75 to 80% of my max heart rate because I'm giving most of that effort to my running. The metcons will vary from day to day. So if we look at Monday and Wednesday, we'll have a metcon that's focused on upper body. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, we'll have a metcon that's focused on lower body. So let's jump into the individual workout sessions, and then I'll give you some examples of the metcons that line up to those specific workouts. So when it comes to upper body strength training, I focus on 4 basic movements. Vertical push, so this could be a shoulder press. Vertical pull, this could be a pull-up. Horizontal push, this could be your chest press. And horizontal pull, this could be your bent over barbell row. From a volume perspective, I like to do 4 sets of 12 of each exercise. After I finish my basic strength training, I'll move on to that metcon. And an example of that could be 4 rounds of 1 minute on, 30 seconds off, ski erg with a minimum of 250 meters within that 60 seconds, 30-second rest, followed by a farmer's carry with 50-pound dumbbells in each hand, and then wall balls with a 14-pounder with a minimum of 20 reps. So if I'm doing 4 rounds of each exercise with 30-second rest in between, that gives us an 18-minute metcon. What I like about these metcons is it is a great way to empty that tank at the end of the workout. It does get the heart rate going, but not so much where you're walking away completely gassed, which is a big focus area for me. With the amount of volume that I'm putting on my body throughout the week, I don't need to be hitting redline every single session. So let's jump into the lower body workouts that I do on Tuesday and Thursday. So right now, with the focus being on Hyrox, I have 3 lifts that I do all year round with 1 extra focus specifically on Hyrox. So let's start with the main 3. I have my squat, hinge, and lateral movement. So with my squat, that could be our barbell squat. Hinge could be our barbell deadlift. Lateral could be our goblet lateral lunge. Those are my 3 lifts that I always do in my strength sessions. And right now, with it being the focus on Hyrox, the 4th one is always sled work. So that could be sled push and sled pull combined together. And a lower body metcon that I do like to do here on the lower body sessions, very similar format to the upper body where it could be 4 rounds, 1 minute on, 30 seconds off. You could do a rower with a 250 meter minimum within that 60 seconds, 30-second break, sandbag walking lunges with 50 pounds, minimum 20 25 meters within that 60 seconds. You can do those 4 rounds each with a 30-second break in between. That's gonna get you roughly a 12-minute Metcon. And when we look at these sessions, they typically last anywhere between 75 to 90 minutes each. These are all workouts that I have in my personal training app, the Hybrid Method personal training app. There's a link below if you wanna check that out, whether you wanna focus on building strength in the build program, functional, people getting ready for Hyrox, or hybrid, where I have a mixture of both of build, functional, and run program in single week workouts. Now, as we zoom out and look at the entire week, I'm doing anything from 7.5 to 9 hours of strength training on a weekly basis. This is also coupled with roughly 8 hours of running volume in the mornings, giving us a total of about 16 hours of training every week. Now, you might be asking yourself, how do you fuel for something like that? And that's exactly what we're gonna be getting into in next week's episode. So there you have it. There's my protocol for implementing strength in my programming as I prepare for Hyrox. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave them in the comment section below. I appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.